When I said that you were coming on this afternoon, and you probably saw a lot of these tweets, a lot of people said, well, for goodness sake, ask her about her flip-flopping, because you started off in the referendum campaign supporting Vote Leave. I think you were actually part of the Vote Leave campaign.
I never did. I never joined them. I always refused because of the 350 million figure. So you'll not find any photographs of me on a platform with them. I always refused to sign up. Because,
well, I was told that you actually wanted to be part on the committee of it.
Absolutely not.
No?
I always said I wouldn't join, and because of the 350 million a week claim, which was clearly false. So you're right. I did start as what you might call a soft leave Eurosceptic, but I sat on the Health and Social Care Select Committee, chairing that committee, week in, week out, hearing extraordinarily consistent and compelling evidence that any version of Brexit would be harmful for the NHS, for social care, for public health and for research. And I got to the point when I could not, in all credibility, recommend to people that this would be a positive way forward.
And you hadn't looked at that before? Because it wasn't a surprise that the referendum was coming. You had quite a long time to prepare for that.
But what you have to do, I think, in all cases, is be prepared if you look at the evidence in detail and you hear that evidence. I mean, as a clinician, would it have been better for me? Because lots of people said to me, why don't you just carry on, Sarah? Don't tell anyone you're going to put a cross in another box. People said to me, it'll be very bad for you politically to change your mind. But you know what? I can't help thinking there's one thing worse than a politician that changes their mind is a politician that doesn't. And I think if you look at the evidence and you believe absolutely that you've got it wrong, you should be prepared to say to people, do you know what? I am not going to recommend that people vote to leave because I've seen the evidence that makes me feel I've changed my mind. And, you know, Iain, I'm not the only person that during the course of the campaign came to a different conclusion. And let's face it, since then, if you look at the number of times Boris Johnson and others have changed their positions, I mean, it's extraordinary that you have somebody like Boris, for example, going to the DUP, telling them he's never going to put a border down the Irish Sea. 2 weeks later, what do we get? So I think that there are many politicians that have changed positions. I can't think of
another politician, though, that has changed their mind on the European referendum and changed political parties. I mean, there have been quite a few that have changed political parties, but...
No, I think that's entirely consistent because...
Well, it's consistent flip-floppery,
no,
yes.
No, it's not consistent flip-floppery. What it is, it's a consistent trail of actually following the evidence. And I said that if the Conservatives got to a position where they were seriously going to leave with no deal, because I felt that was so serious, I'd said for some time that for me would be the final straw. There were many other reasons to leave. I felt that, and I put this all in the letter that I wrote to the Prime Minister at the time, it was also about the failure to tackle burning injustices. There were so many issues where I could see the Conservative Party shifting relentlessly to the right and completely in the grip of the ERG as I saw it. I know some people may disagree with me, but that was how I felt. And so
but you didn't even give Boris Johnson a chance to get a deal, which he then got, which, surprised a lot of people.
I left when Theresa May was, so it was before Boris Johnson came in. So I left in February. And
was it really February? God,
yes, that's right.
Long time ago.
February the 20th, because I was a grandmother on the same day.
Really?
Exciting.
Oh, my goodness.
But the point is that you find when you're in that, because both of our main parties used to be sort of, if you like, internal coalitions. And for people like me in the centre ground of that party, you just get to the point where the elastic can't stretch any further, that you're trying to say, well, let's bring policies back into the centre ground. And you feel in the end that you're just not changing or influencing anything. And so it's so out of step. And I would argue that the Conservative Party I joined in 2009 was much more of that broad church. And if you like, the Conservative Party really did move very significantly. It's unrecognisable from the party I joined. And so I felt it was no longer possible in all conscience for me to stay. So I don't think that's inconsistent with also changing my position during the referendum campaign. So as I say, I did vote to remain. I told people why I'd voted to remain, and I also said that if the Conservative Party were going to do no deal, that for me would mean I could no longer remain within it.
But there's a third thing that you changed your mind upon as well, and that is that in 2011 you were a leading signatory of a motion to say that anybody that defected to another party had to cause a by-election. And you didn't do that. And a lot of people have been in touch saying, well, for goodness sake, push her on this.
I
because
will do.
we
Okay.
don't understand how she can look herself in the mirror over this.
It's been, I think, seriously misrepresented. 10-minute rule bills are not actually bills at all. They're debates. They're 10-minute debates in Parliament, and you need 10 signatures on them. And very often MPs will sign to allow their colleagues to take a debate forward.
So you signed a
Iain, there
motion
was
that you
no
didn't
bill.
agree with?
No, but the point is it's about
Come
a debate. Iain, it's about a debate, and it happens all the time. Look at all the people who signed the motion for Jeremy Corbyn to have a run at being Prime Minister, who subsequently said they didn't support him.
I have to say,
it wasn't a bill, Iain.
in being involved in politics for 30 years, I've never heard of an MP put their name to a bill, whether it's a 10-minute rule bill, an early day
It's
motion
not a
or
bill.
whatever.
It's
well,
not
it's called a bill.
I know it's called a bill, but it's a debate. A 10-minute rule bill
all right,
is a
well, I've never heard
total
of somebody
misnomer.
put their name to a motion that they actually fundamentally disagree with. I think that's
No,
bizarre.
they do for debates. So for debates, as I say, this was not a bill. There was never a bill
but
published.
they're often voted on.
No, but this is something called, as I say, they're called bills, but they're debates.
So if there
They're
had been a
10-minute
vote on that
motion.
10-minute rule motion, how would you have voted on it?
I mean, to be honest with you, Iain, these things are just a 10-minute opportunity for people to put a point of view in Parliament. That's all they are. They happen several times a week, and you will see MPs stand up. Sometimes they are followed by legislation that's published. But I think it's completely right. And I did say to everyone that I thought it was fine that they should then have a chance to have their say on me. And that's why once no deal had been taken off the table, I did vote against my own party's line to have a general election, because I agree it's reasonable for people to have a final say on me. Once I had joined the Liberal Democrats, an established political party, I said I would vote for a general election, and that's what I did.
What has been the reaction of people in your constituency to all of this over the last few months?
I mean, obviously it's interesting. A lot of people have been ecstatically happy about it and very, very pleased that I left the Conservative Party. But there are others, of course, as you would expect, who feel very strongly, and I have, had people come up to me and call me by parts of my anatomy and that I'm a
Seriously,
traitor.
they actually say it to your face?
I have had people be very challenging to me personally about it, as of course, politics is very fraught at the moment and very divisive, and I think that's a great shame. There's a long tradition in our politics of people crossing the floor. In fact, I'm not comparing myself with him, of course I'm not, but Churchill crossed the floor twice, for example. This is something that we've long had, and I think to describe people as a traitor and in the way that some people have done, I think is wrong, because I think there has to be within our politics the ability for people to, on a matter of conscience, say, I can no longer remain where I am. I couldn't have stayed a Conservative, and I'm completely comfortable with having made that change. It may cost me my political career, but as I say to people, I'd rather vote in a way and behave in a way that means that I'm out of a job than vote in a way that puts my constituents out of a job. And that's how I feel. That's how strongly I feel about and how profoundly damaging this will be. And